Kieran, from early days, even at school, we're told to specialize, pick a lane, pick a career. We're really being told to become a specialist. But I know that you, across your career, have seen it different. You've made a career where you've become a generalist. What does that mean? What's the difference between a generalist and a specialist?
It's a really good question. And to your point on schools, I think is a good place to start there because, and I'm sure we've all gone through it, or some probably who may be listening are going through it, is that I never really knew what I wanted to do. I find when I speak to people that have just left university, some still don't know what they want to do. And everyone is following that predefined path into this world that is a mishmash spaghetti junction of things that are out there and jobs that you may be able to do. So when I talk about being a generalist, it's about really understanding what are the base models of things that are always true in the market, in life. Maths, always a good example. Science, there are a lot of standardized natural staples that will not change unless you really push some boundaries. And English for communication within the UK is an example. That will always be a continuity point. Everything else in general, things are always changing, technology especially, the way we work. And it's about finding all of those valuable skills in a multitude of different arenas and bringing them all together under your banner, not someone else's, not what someone else expects, to make sure that you've truly understood what you've learned and how you articulate what you've learned and start to build those puzzle pieces in the wonderful mosaic that will be your future and career.
So, when you leave school, for example, or maybe even when you leave sort of your A levels and go into university or even beyond university, maybe you've decided you're going to go into medicine or you're going to go into science or become an astronaut or sport or something. So to a degree, you are specializing, but still within that, you can be either a deep specialist. I know that when we were preparing this, you talked about, for example, a kidney expert. So he's a doctor, but he's a kidney expert. But equally, you can also still be a generalist and you can still be adaptable, particularly you and I are both in technology.
Yes. Yeah. And it's a really good point. And I'm not here to say don't specialize. That would be an exceptionally naive and stupid thing to say. I like my doctors to specialize. I think it's very important that they know the very unique space and arena that they work within. But it would be interesting to know how much time and investment is available. That I know they're under an incredible amount of stress and pressure continuously, but how much time do they do to investigate new areas? And as you rightly pointed out, we were discussing areas like nutrition. We've got this huge push in and around mental health and how that affects the body as well. So I think and I can't speak directly from any true depth of knowledge from a medical point of view, but we're learning new things all the time. And are the individuals that are now in that space where this entire world of medicine is changing, are they adapting? Are they learning new things, or are they still in that lane? So, and I'm sure this will probably be quite spicy for some, but how many doctors are just treating the issue that's in front of them rather than truly understanding the problem? Is it nutrition? We all know it is. I think if you honestly look at each other in the eye, it is nutrition.
Yeah.
But then we don't address it. We just address the problem, not the issue. So the specialist point, yes, to start off with, it's important. You need to understand the grounding and what you're doing and why you're doing it. But the importance of generalizing is, what did you learn from elsewhere that's going to change the way you approach something? How do you be different? It's almost like breaking away from the industrialization of the process. I feel that a specialism, more often than not in every field, but would be quite broad brushstroke here, is true or false. I feel generalist is shades of grey. Let's look into it and discuss.
Yeah. And again, when we were preparing, you talked about the concept of, instead of having a map, and very simplistically, that is, at a certain point, let's say 20 years of age, you go, that's my map, and I'll get to 60, I'll have completed my map and I'm done. Whereas you say it's much better to develop a compass so that actually you can decide what your next step should be and how you should approach any given situation. So you're not stuck and rigid. You can be really flexible, really adaptable, and handle what's thrown at you.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I'd be really grateful if I can be done by 60.
Yeah.
um, but that's a really good point because there is I think there's a hell of a lot of preconditioning put into people from parents through to teachers, through to every system that we go through. There is that preconditioning point. And to your point about that map is already set, you could we have compasses with maps, but it's to get to the destination that the map set for you. So you're never really exploring. You've kind of got that. You mentioned 60 there. Everyone's got this set destination. I get a house, I put into my pension, I do all these things, and then it ends. It's like the end of a journey. There's no exploration in that. Very rarely is there. It's only when you've got the courage to move away from the map. And this is what about building a compass is all about, is the fact that you are moving in a direction. Just understand what direction you're moving in and what is that actually going to give you and benefit you.
Yeah.
So I know that sounds extremely ethereal. We should probably dig into that a bit.
Yeah. And I know that across this conversation, we're going to talk about what that means for somebody's career and how they traverse different challenges and how they are flexible and the impact that has on their CV. So later on, we'll talk much more about this, but
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to ask you this question.